and boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome back to another week of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is the Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. On today's show, our top story will naturally be Calgary Roughnecks lost Game 3. What went wrong, and what are the Twitter reactions? What's next for Calgary coach Kurt Malawsky? My thoughts on his interesting, to say the least, post-game remarks. And an NLL Finals teaser. Is Colorado even supposed to be here? Are the Bandits approaching Bills territory? Enjoy your MVP, Christian Del Bianco, and your early offseason. That was my tweet that set off number one fan of the show, Christian Del Bianco, and to a more extent, his former teammate and Seals first-round exit, Curtis Dixon. Our top story is presented by our store. Shop all things Daily Dive by visiting our Twitter and Instagram pages. Click the link tree, and there you'll see our store. Buy our merchandise. Support the show as we grow the game. Enjoy your off-season. Early off-season, should I say. I'll be honest. When I made that tweet after Colorado did eventually extinguish the Roughnecks in Game 3 by coming back and winning 8-7, when I said that tweet, yeah, it was kind of cute at the time. I immediately afterwards said, hey, great series by Del Bianco, though. I even added him on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's not good enough in today's society because Christian Del Bianco quoted the tweet. And listen, to be fair, Del Bianco has been a lot more level-headed than another player I'm going to talk about. And also a lot of the replies I got were just Del Bianco was the classiest of them all. But he said, if you're going to throw shade like that, you got to at me in the first place. Reality of the NLL is you're going to run into some great lacrosse teams. I like your content and find it quite funny, but stop trying to push this anti-Roughnecks bit for attention/clicks. Let me first address that point. And listen, I'm not here to ruffle feathers on purpose. I'm not here to, make people mad for the sake of attention and clicks, because that stuff's so cheap and it's stupid and weird. And frankly, while I do understand how to do that, I find myself doing it on accident more times than not, which shows you I don't really care about the attention and the clicks. I care about talking lacrosse and, of course, growing my own brand, but I don't have to get attention by forced hot takes, Like, it's okay to be an NLL fan and be critical. And as I said on the show, like, Jeff Teat, although his father has, anti-Daily Dive tweets, Jeff Teat has never come to the show on Twitter and said, why are you doing this for attention? Like, Jeff Teat, hopefully, and I'm sure CTB understands that when you're at the highest level, if I'm comparing you to another player, it's okay to be nitpicked a little bit. Like, if I'm comparing the MVP conversation, I have to break down the flaws in one player versus another player. I've said that Dane Smith plays on a super team. I've said Del Bianco benefits from Calgary's team defense. Both of those things are true. But I believe Dane Smith playing without Josh Byrne and Hogan Anico for some of the season and still thriving trumps Del Bianco and what he did this season. It's not a knock on Del Bianco. It's nitpicking an award because you have to do that if it's so close. Christian Del Bianco had a great season. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not going to walk back anything I said or have said this far or will say. These are the facts of the matter. So that one got 72 likes. And again, it's not about impressions, but it does help I'll be honest, yeah, it helps your brand a little bit whenever you have the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show. Curtis Dixon was not as kind. I will not say the cuss words he said, but he said, just went through your recent tweets, and holy, honestly, barnacles, you are idiots. Please shut up until you have any idea what you're talking about, which, okay, I get it. Maybe Curtis Dixon lives under a rock and has not seen the show. I'll give them a pass for that. So I said, not going to happen. Just being cheap like he is. Then he said, I'll give you a free pass. And this is where I lose respect for sports conversations in general. Not for Curtis Dixon, but for sports conversation. He said, you've clearly never played sport at any high level and have no idea how devastating it is to lose a game like that. Glad you got that tweet out there to get one like on it, though. Curtis Dixon, I don't know how to tell you this, but sports are subject to opinion because you guys are entertainers in the end. I'm not saying you weren't devastated by a first-round exit. I'm not saying Del Bianco's not devastated by a playoff loss. But the reality is somebody's got to lose. And when Calgary, your former team, is being hyped in every single award voted by the media is somehow affiliated with Calgary, I have an issue with that. I've been on the record saying I thought while the Seals were inconsistent, none of them were nominated. Come on now. I didn't see any Seals get nominated for any awards. Maybe an executive somewhere. That's all I can think of. But again, guys, it's not about the clicks. And so what Curtis Dixon is basically doing, and I know it's emotional. I thought he would have gotten over his loss by now. But and that's not a knock. I'm just saying in general. What Curtis Dixon is doing is you're fat. First of all, I've not always been fat. Well, I do agree that I've been lazy in the last few years. 240 made me look good. Like 240 pounds made me look good. Okay? I'm a 6'2", 240-pound person who, is not the greatest at sports, but I love playing them and I love watching them. So to tell me I cannot have an opinion or my opinion is invalid because of that is, again, a little bit in the moment here. So I'm not gonna get hyped on that. It's just don't be cheap with it, And again, I'll say this. In this game, especially in Game 3, which we'll talk about now, I actually picked Calgary to win by more than 1.5 goals, and that was not the case. Under 22.5 hit, but not the Calgary covered. So I expected Calgary to do this. Okay, Colorado Mammoth, I will say it again. I don't want to tease the last segment or give anything away, but the Mammoth, with all due respect, are not supposed to be here. To brush this aside as we made the conference finals, to brush this aside as they're a great team is simply not good enough for me. And I believe Calgary's offense was very stagnant at times. Dylan Ward was fantastic, but eventually you got to get more than 7 goals past him. And when you have a lead, sometimes the best players in the world, the tiniest of margins separate them from all-time greats. You can be great right now, Christian Del Bianco. You can win the regular season MVP. But I'm just saying, there comes a time when the going gets tough and the tough gets going, you allow 2 goals late and Colorado capitalized. Okay? I know what Giannis Antetokounmpo, an NBA player, obviously NBA superstar, said. Do we crucify Michael Jordan for losing 9 times in the first round? Well, no, but in the context of debate, that kind of matters. And so again, I'm not going to hype on these guys for being emotional and being wanting to they have the right to their take as well. But I just want them to realize it's not hate over here. It's more just debating it and, talking about the game that I love. This is my second year watching it. This is my first really hardcore year. This is the first year of Daily Dive. We've got so much time to go. We've got so many things I'm working on behind the scenes. Believe me, it's incredible what we're working with and the team that we have. But just bear with me here. As the sport grows, you can't add every single media person who doesn't hype you up. And one of the problems in the NLL, or not only problems, but one of the concerns for me is every single media person is, oh, this guy did great, this guy did great, this guy's fantastic. Sometimes, again, when you're having a sports debate, it is okay to nitpick the small things, especially if you're comparing great players. Again, as for Calgary, this was a disappointment. I don't want to say it's an embarrassment, but this was a disappointment. You were supposed to win the series. You, in a sense, avoided San Diego. Because remember, a lot of people on this show and on Twitter and on Instagram were saying, well, single game elimination should be gotten rid of. I'm pretty sure the Colorado Mammoth players heard that. They took that to heart. They took that as personal. And Calgary rode the wave and obviously did not bring it enough. Not saying they didn't try. They did not bring it enough. And in the end, that's what separates good teams from great teams. Calgary, you're a good team. You're not great. This is a 15-team league. Bandits ran through their competition, and you're playing a team that everyone told us was not supposed to be here because there should have been a 3-game series in the first round. While I disagree to an extent, I will say you lost to this Mammoth team on your home floor. And that eventually does matter when comparing greatness. Now, when I come back, though, Kurt Malawsky, well, this gentleman right here, I'm starting to love his post-game interviews. I know last time I kind of harped on him a little bit, but this guy has got some interesting post-game interviews. We'll make an attempt to air one next, and hopefully the sound comes through this time. But yes, what's next for Kurt Malawsky on the other side of Daily Dive? Leagues and players, head to Fanatics. And I was just thinking, well, Fanatics, well, don't worry, it's the NLL shop, it's the NFL shop, it's NBA store, it's all of it right there. Go to our link tree on Daily Dive Lax on social media, click the Fanatics logo. When you make a purchase on any team, any league, any player, it helps support the show tremendously. For that, we thank you so much. What's next for Kurt Malawsky of the Calgary Roughnecks? What's interesting is this man lives in the Vancouver area. Vancouver had a pitiful year, and if I'm not mistaken, Kurt Malawsky did win the championship 2 years ago. So it's interesting that he says this after losing Game 3. Again, this guy has some emotional comments after these games, and this is what I particularly love. Let's see if we can get this on here with actual sound this time. I believe you guys can hear that. If you could not, I give up. But anyways, the first 15 seconds of that are pretty crazy because he's basically saying He doesn't know what the future holds. I'm like, dude, I mean, why are we talking? I don't know if the question was not aired on that specific answer. So I do wonder what that was about. But it's interesting this man lives in the Vancouver area. And would he leave this Calgary team to go to Vancouver? Like how, like, again, the Warriors did not have a great year. But Warriors are obviously going to have to blow something up this year. And usually in lacrosse, and the way this works is you have to, it's easier, it's more convenient for players and coaches if they live in the area. See Callum Crawford with Panther City, and he lives in Oklahoma. That's in Fort Worth, Texas, where Panther City plays. That matters to players and coaches. How about San Diego when they need to shake some things up? I know Cooper Perkins came on the show, Seals broadcaster, and he said he doesn't know what has to happen. He said it might be small changes. He has no idea. This provides some speculation from the guys who follow the team. But Kurt Malawsky, would he go reunite with some Roughnecks in San Diego? It's an interesting thought process here. Because, again, this was disappointing. You're not supposed to lose this series. And the fact they did, and, I love how we go from blaming refs in game one to, we got them in game two, we're ready for game three, and then game three, this happens. And now we're questioning our future with the team. Just saying you got to keep the same energy. It was blasted refs. Speaking of referees, did you guys see? This is so bad. When the referee for the NLL, one of the referees took a ball to the face, and then when someone was complaining, threw his hands up and punched the same guy in the face. It's like, dude, what a game from that referee. And he still played through it. Like, while you guys were watching the NBA with Scott Foster taking up a shoulder from LeBron James, we were also watching NLL. Fans were watching this referee from the NLL in the Calgary game. Just, oh wow! I do want to say this in terms of referees as well, because I thought it was very interesting. And I'm not one to blame referees. You lost 8-7 in the end, but because I don't think there's enough money for that either. But it is interesting. The referees allowed a lot of cross checks from behind. And to me, at least from what I understood from the broadcasters this year, was they were trying to clean up those, those blatant checks from behind. I feel like they kind of let them play to a fault in game three. Just an observation on the surface from my limited knowledge. Of course, I never played anything at any high level or whatever Curtis Dixon said. But hey, it was a tough year for the Roughnecks considering how it ended. I do wonder if Kurt Malawsky does leave. Again, the Vancouver and San Diego connections are very intriguing, especially San Diego falling as short as they did. To be fair, Calgary took their series to 3 games. They could have been swept and they weren't. So, wow, interesting. When I come back, we'll give a little teaser for the NLL Finals. Are the Buffalo Bandits, dare I say, approaching Bills territory? And why I think the Mammoth were the worst thing that could happen to Buffalo. We'll be back to Daily Dive. Our last brew presented by Beer's Coffee Company, code Daily Dive. Check the awesome flavors of Beer's Coffee Company. It's coffee for gamers, by gamers, and of course, lacrosse and Daily Dive fans. Okay, so the NLL Finals are set, and boy, oh boy, first of all, I do have to give credit to the graphics person or whoever's doing the social media for the NLL, because this right here is gorgeous. I love this graphic so much. And I wanted to get to this right here because I thought it was worth the conversation here. As the Mammoth have advanced and getting past that single elimination game and now beating the Calgary Roughnecks in 3, the Bandits have been waiting for a week or two now. Remember, the Bandits took care of their competition. They swiped off Rochester, said thanks for trying Toronto without Tom Schreiber. Buffalo, I kind of said this after the Rochester game and it didn't matter. But now I'm going to be seriously wondering, after a 2-week layoff, because again, they last played last Saturday. Last Saturday. This Friday or Saturday, I believe it's Friday maybe, the NLL Finals kicks off, and this team, who was so hot offensively, was finally getting together, playing well. It'll be interesting to see if they have any slow legs or any lack of chemistry to start the game, which could work in the Mammoth's favor. For Colorado, I'll say it. Cooper Perkins will say it too. Obviously not now, but Cooper Perkins would say it. Are they even supposed to be here? The Mammoth kind of hung around, and now they've made the finals. And I think personally, combine the layoff with the fact this team is kind of in your head, this right here is the worst thing that could have happened to the Buffalo Bandits. This season, the Colorado Mammoth played the Buffalo Bandits in Buffalo. Keep this in mind. And this is also a crazy stat. They played Calgary and lost 16-10 in Colorado on March 10th of this year. March 18th at Buffalo, the next game they played, the Colorado Mammoth beat the Bandits 13-8. That's impressive. For the Buffalo Bandits, were they coming off a bye? No, they had just beat the Halifax Thunderbirds. So now you're combining the fact with you've already been beat by the only time you played these guys. You lost them in the finals last year when everyone thought the Bandits were going to do well. And now you have even more momentum. But you finish your Rock Series early. Are you preferring the rest here, or are you preferring to keep playing here? I'm going to remind you of what the Mammoth did to the Seals. And I know this show is not big enough to hear everybody talk about this fact, but I'll say it again for those that want to listen now. The Seals, after the Bandits had clinched the #1 seed, the San Diego Seals played the Mammoth that night and lost in the regular season. They won in the regular season by like 1 or 2 goals. The next game they played was against the Mammoth. Mammoth won in a thrilling upset and controlled much of that game late. Colorado, they have to be in the heads of these Bandits. Because I know, like, Buffalo's probably thinking, okay, Calgary, San Diego, who knows. For Colorado to be that team to play you, the natural human instinct is to think, well, son of a gun, they're back. Yeah, we're back, but they're back. And players can brush it aside as, we focus on the next game. You've had 2 weeks. You're going to come on 2 weeks to focus on this one now. And you don't think it's in your head that, God, these guys got us last year. Remember the Buffalo Bills? I'm not alive for that, but maybe a lot of you were not either. The Bills once lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. These guys living in Buffalo, like Dane Smith and Josh Byrne do, are obviously well aware of that fact. So you got the sports area history. You've got the Bandits history against this Mammoth team. Matt Vince, who's lost like 2 or 3 championships with the Bandits. Mammoth, this is insane. It's I don't want to say the worst thing in like a negative light. I think of the things that could have happened for the Buffalo Bandits this year, these scenarios combining into one is the worst thing. I want to check out if there's a line open on DK Sportsbook. on DraftKings, that is. I'm interested to see if there's odds yet. Let's see here. Oh, dear mama. The Mammoth right now are plus 150 on the money line. I mean, I don't like to use the term free money, but after what I just said, again, Bandits were so hot. But how many times in sports have you seen a super hot team kind of cool off in the wrong moments? Again, like, if it's in my head, all I'm doing is picking the game for the sake of to be right. You don't think it's in these players' heads even more so? This is insane to me. Like, Mammoth, again, last year, they weren't supposed to be here. This year, not supposed to be here. According to Cooper Perkins, who does lax metrics, not supposed to be here. But yet, like a leech or a mosquito or a gnat, they're here. Whew, buddy. If I'm a city of Buffalo right now, I've been talking to some Buffalo Bandits fans personally, and they can't even fathom. They can't even imagine what it would be like to lose this series. Because, again, Buffalo fans are very passionate. Like, they're like Seattle fans. Okay? Like, these guys will show up even when the team is losing. They understand the grief of losing. Because when you're a fan, you invest in these guys, both financially and mentally. You kind of feel like you're part of the team here. And even the Buffalo Sports Collective, I believe it was Phil of that squad, who's joined our show once before, who said that he's like, if you don't win it this time, when do you win it? I said before the playoffs started, Buffalo deserves this as a city. The keys to this thing will obviously be the Mammoth defense. And I was telling one of my own Buffalo Bandits people I talked to, I was like, hey, man, just let you know, I kept plugging him in his ear, y'all don't want the Mammoth. That defense is nasty. Like I compared to the Lakers, okay? When I was watching the Lakers, and this was like in the 2020 bubble, even the Miami Heat this year in the NBA playoffs, I saw them communicate. Like, if you watch the Mammoth in this series against the Roughnecks, watch it back on ESPN or TSN Plus. Just watch it back. Look at every switch, like every perfect switch. Every time the Roughnecks would set a pick, the other Mammoth player would be right there. Communication was flawless. Coaching was flawless. Absolutely insane. You don't think that'll affect the Bandits? Matt Vince has also been on a heater. He's also 40 years old. You don't think it's in their heads? You don't think the Mammoths stand a chance? A lot of people will probably say, yeah, well, Bandits are going to get them. Well, that could be true, but not without a fight. I'm excited. We got all we can talk about here. NLL Finals with that awesome graphic. They're underway this weekend, and God almighty, if it couldn't get any better than this, season 1 of Daily Dive, it almost makes me wish I was here last year talking about this stuff. Incredible. We will have guests on the show this week. Do not worry, including NLL Finals preview on probably Wednesday or Thursday. But please keep watching the show. I love you guys for it. It makes the game so much more fun to talk about, whether it's banter back and forth with players or whatever. I can take positive, I can take negative. It don't matter. Like, we're all talking lacrosse here. Let's keep it friendly, keep it fun, and let's grow this game together, all right? So we'll see you tomorrow. For everyone that comes on the show as a guest, for every one of you great people that watch the show, including 42 subscribers on YouTube, which is really cool. I know it's not a lot compared to most people, but hey, I'm living the dream over here. For the people behind the scenes that I work with, and we're working on better things in the future, this has been Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. See you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, Calgary.